Hey, what's up, God Gamers? It's Steve Masters. We're here with Jen. She's been working on LittleBigPlanet Karting, and it looks like Sackboy is about to have a lot of fun.
Oh, he's going to have a ton of fun behind the wheel.
So let's get in and check out what you got to show us today.
Absolutely. So this is LittleBigPlanet Karting. We get the amazing job of marrying two awesome genres, one being karting, which is a genre that we all grew up with, that we all know and love. Very accessible, very easy to pick up and play and have a lot of fun with it. And we get to bring it into this amazing craft world, as you can see. First of all, Sackboy looks pretty cute in his kart, and he gets to explore these worlds that for the first time we're seeing in full 3D. So it's no longer just a 2D side-scrolling game with LittleBigPlanet. We're actually exploring and going through. As you can see, we've got whole worlds that are all animated, things are going on, and that's all very new for the karting genre too. It's not just about having signposts or just trees along the side of the track. We have whole big worlds. Just like any other karting game, we have weapons. We have a whole set of our customized weapons that we've created for the game, for the story mode, which are all very balanced and finely tuned. And of course, everything that you see here is made using our Create tools. And these are the same tools that the end user gets to have to make their own levels. So everything here can be recreated using our Create mode. And that's pretty fun and pretty cool. So in this sort of new expansion of Sackboy's Adventures in Craft World, we have a whole new story. We have a whole new enemy. These guys are called the Horde, and they're these little sort of Frankenstein kind of dudes who are going through the worlds, and they're stealing all of the fun, the prizes, the goodies, all of the things that make Craft World so creative and fun. And they're not very smart guys, so instead of actually using these things for their own good, they're actually stealing them and hoarding them. So Sackboy has been enlisted once again to save the craft world, to chase these guys down and to earn back all of the goodies and prizes and restore it to its former glory. Along the way, we go through a whole host of different worlds. I think we have 7 or 8 different worlds in total. Now, some of them are homage levels to prior LittleBigPlanet titles. This one here is based on Victoria's Laboratory, as you can see. But we also have a whole host of new themes and new worlds that we get to play around with too. Each world has a new mascot character which Sackboy meets who tell him about what's going on in their world and give him little missions and side challenges and some fun quests to do. There are over 4,500 prizes that you can pick up through the levels. Some of these are in prize bubbles, so these are stickers and decorations and all sorts of fun things that you can use in the Create mode when creating your own levels. And you earn these, like I said, through the prize bubbles and the levels, but also through placing first, second and third on the podium, and through looting and starring the levels as well. So just like LittleBigPlanet, there are ways of going back and earning more and doing better than 6th place, as we just saw then. So we have a lot of obvious traditional karting type races and battles and arenas and things like that. But we also, you know, with the power of our editor now, the different things that you can do working in a 3D world, we've kind of expanded a little bit. So here's an example of sort of a bit more non-traditional karting. Like we're still in a kart, we're still in a racetrack, but you can move the cameras around. So this time we have more of an isometric view. And these little side challenges that pop up throughout the story mode that kind of break up the racing a little bit and give you something else fun to do to score points. In your pod here, bring up your puppet. One thing you'll notice is it's all the same interface, so people who are familiar with LBP 1 and 2 will feel right at home. With your kart, you can completely customize. We have a whole host of different body configurations. You can change the suspension, engine sound, horn sound, steering wheel, wheels, everything's all sort of up to you. Plus, you can cover it in stickers and decorations, of course. So we have a nice cupcake with tank treads. Also, you know, with our Create mode, you've got so much power now that you don't actually have to be in a kart. You can create any object that you want. You can sort of paint out a 3D object and you can give it kart controls. So you can actually be riding anything, or we even saw an example of that where it was turned into a first-person shooter. Someone made sort of a hand with a gun and they're controlling that around. So it's not a kart at all anymore. And that's sort of showing off the power of the editor and how it's not just about karting. So here's an example of one of the levels that has been created that's a little bit different, a little bit offbeat from traditional karting. We're in the editor at the moment, so as you can see, again, it's similar user interface from LittleBigPlanet 1 and 2. So if people are familiar with creating in those games, they're going to feel right at home here. But this time around, look, we're working in 3D space. Here's an example of using a material and a shape to create a new object. You paint it out in a 2D spline, but then you have the ability to actually manipulate it and move it around in a 3D world. So this is an example of a first-person shooter that you can make in a karting game. Again, we've used we've actually painted out this whole new weapon here using a control-enated gadget to change the controls of it, so it feels more like a first-person shooter. And it's also in a team-based mode too. So you can also see that the HUD here is completely customizable, so you can have whatever you want on the HUD. In this case, we've got the targeting reticule and the score counter. So as you're killing these AI bots, you're getting score. And that's an example of custom weapons that you can create. So kind of surprising to us that you could make a first-person shooter in our game. We first saw that in the public beta that we did. Someone came up with a level that was an FPS, and it kind of blew our minds. And that's been the theme all along, is that the power of the editor is just so much that even we don't know that we can make these things in our game. And that's really, really cool. So something else that's new for a karting game is the ability to script your own intros and outros, so your own cutscenes basically for your level. Everything you're seeing here, from the camera cuts to the text that's coming up on the screen, to the objects that you create within, how they animate, sound effects, all of that is completely customizable. And that's really cool for two reasons. One, being a LittleBigPlanet game, if you're making levels of your own, you might want to tell a story, so you can use these cutscene moments to tell a story. Secondly, if you're making a game like this is completely different again. This is like a tower defense style game. You might need to explain to the players how to play your level, so you can use those cutscene moments to describe the objective, which buttons to use, and that sort of thing. You know, one thing that you know, I've been asked a few times is, like, what are the limitations of this game when you're in the create mode, when you're creating your own levels? And there really isn't any limitations. You can have things behave any way you want. The only limitation you have, of course, is the size of the level, and you get warnings. You know, if your level is too big, too many assets or whatever, you get a chance to sort of remove some of those and bring down the memory a little bit. But that's the only thing. So if you did want to make an entire level that was just one big scripted cutscene, you can do that. So we support 2 to 4 player split screen, local split screen. Also, 2 players can play split screen together, so you and your little brother or you and your mom can play together on one console and go online and play with other friends. Online, we support up to 8 players cross-region. And that's where this game really, really shines, because it is so much fun to get into these battle modes and really, really, really kick your friends' butts. So one of the great things about playing online with up to 7 other people, so 8 in total, is, you know, some of the feedback we got actually from our public beta was that people, when they're playing online with others, they want to keep playing. You know, you don't want to finish a race or a battle, have it just end, and then be like, what do we do now? So we added a feature which we call level voting. So what happens is, as a group, when the level finishes, you have a screen that comes up that gives you a few options of where you go next. That could be to replay the same level, it could be a couple of new different levels from our story mode, but we also include some of the community levels in there, some that we recommend that you play. So everyone in the group has a chance to vote, and the one with the highest votes is where you all move to next. And what that means is that it kind of creates this loop of endless content, so you can keep playing games and keep playing more races and more battles and stay together. So in our create mode, users can create their own tracks, races, battles, anything, all the examples of what we've seen here today. You can create anything you want, and you can publish it and share it with the world. So when you're scrolling through the community list, you can see all of these levels that you can play. And basically, it's the first time for a karting game that we've seen that, where it's endless content. It's not just finishing the story mode and that's it, you're done. What was on the disc, that was it. It's actually that you have endless levels to play, and it's going to keep growing. I mean, one thing that we've already seen with the LittleBigPlanet franchise is that there's been over 7 million, I think we're at 7.3 million levels have been made in total. And that's just astonishing. And we're excited to see the levels that are going to be made for Little Big Planet Karting and how many more we can add to that. So one of the biggest compliments that we received from some of our early testing and from our public beta was that people felt this was authentically Little Big Planet's craft world, but set in 3D. It was exactly what they thought it would be once they moved into that new dimension. And the really cool thing too is that with the power of our editor, if you wanted to recreate levels that you've made from Little Big Planet 1 or 2, you can do so. So you can still make 2 or 2.5D levels in Little Big Planet Karting.
Hey, Jen, thanks a lot for giving us a tour of Little Big Planet Karting.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
And when can we play this one?
You'll see Sackboy behind the wheel November 6th.
On PlayStation 3. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Of course, absolutely.